Hello. Hello. Is it working? Yes. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our panel. So, hello. Hello.
Hi.
Was great meeting you this morning. No, yours is not working, I think. Can we check if Vira's?
Check.
Yes.
It works.
Yes.
Because I want to say not just hello, but вітаю, because I guess there's a lot of Ukrainians in here, so yeah.
Excellent. So today, of course, everywhere we hear AI. Dmytro was already playing AI with chess. Oh, did you win?
Not yet.
Okay.
There is an amazing chessboard there you can play with a robot. Very inspiring.
So this panel, I think, is very interesting because we are going to be talking about how AI redefines engineering teams today. And I'm very interested to hear your insight into the near future as we are entering 2026. So my first question is that during last about 20 years, software engineering was considered to be a golden ticket for job security. Everyone wanted to be a software engineer. Everyone wanted to become. And my question is right now, with all the buzz that AI is killing jobs left and right, is it still a solid career? Vira, what do you think?
Yeah, it is still a solid career, especially if you love it. So, because I love it, so if you're in love with technology and like really deep stuff, it's definitely a solid career. But I guess we don't need such a huge number of engineers for sure. And when like young people ask me, what like career should I pursue? Like what should I learn? Usually I answer something about data. So I advise them, okay, you'd better go towards data. If you're not that like really deep into this like really deep tech stuff, because in my opinion we definitely will need less and less like I won't say like average software engineers, but still like people who just like do more basic job. And it's normal, it's a normal stage of like that evolution. So I advise like work with data. It's your golden ticket, because we all know that as for now, like context and data is like number one problem. We have all the like algorithm and like foundation models, but the biggest challenge is how to prepare data, what to do with your context. So, and it's really hard stuff to do. So if you are newbie, just go into the data, in my opinion. Yeah.
Dmytro, what do you think?
I'll try to be a little bit more controversial to make it more fun. I think we will need much more engineers. I'm a strong believer in Jensen paradox. So I think the more AI capacity we have as a society, the more use cases for AI we will find. And there is so much untapped opportunity where we can implement AI that I believe that developers will need more of them, but the nature of the job will change dramatically. And there is one problem with that AI is very good at doing things that we as humans love doing. Writing code. I love writing code. I like solving tasks on lead code, writing algorithms, and AI does it much better than me. What I don't like to do is to debug errors, write or read documentation, write unit tests, do some other kind of boring things. And the good thing about that is AI is also very good at that. So I think that it's not a problem that AI will kind of steal your job. It's a problem that AI will change your job. So as an engineer, you will do things much differently. And for some people, it will be amazing. For example, I have extremely bad memory. I don't remember any like names of functions or libraries. And AI will just replace my brain with autocomplete, which is amazing for me. But from the other side, more complicated workflows like design and architecture or doing some kind of deeper things, they are still not yet there. And I have a big question mark if it will be there in the next 5-10 years. So I am more like on the side, everything will be amazing, but it will be very different from what we see right now.
So you mentioned, go ahead.
Yeah, I can continue your point of view. So how do you think, will be the same software engineers, or like what about skills required to be? Yeah.
I think interesting thing is that people say because of AI, you don't need to hire junior engineers because their job can be replaced by AI. And then the question is, if you don't hire juniors today, who will be your seniors tomorrow? So it's also a little bit like a philosophical question, but I think in the matter of seniority, it will build much more value communication skills and product mindset versus just pure memorization skills. We had some good engineers previously who were like able to rewrite some C++ library to different language, I don't know, to Go, to Rust. And AI can do it much better now. So I think like the geeky type of engineer will be a little bit less valuable, but what we'll see more is that engineers who are more like kind of business-minded, product-oriented, will be much more efficient because of the AI.
I agree. Just one small point, because we need more like a, this citizen developer like notion that everyone actually now is more able to like create some basic stuff, and we don't need such to attract like to some senior level engineer to do this, because it's more available to you. And speaking about juniors, you know that OpenAI has this hiring strategy. They hire only senior and juniors, so no middle level, because they need juniors, because it's that new type of engineers that they can write code only with AI assistance. So and they try to find this like balance between old school and new school, and I see it's like a really like cool strategy to have, because you have this new type of only AI-assisted coders.
There is an interesting thought from head of engineering at Spotify, Farhan. So his position is that they're hiring 500 interns each summer to Spotify to use AI and write code, just because they don't have this kind of fixed mindset of how AI should be used, how code should be written, and they use AI much more actively as kind of super interns, first job. They don't know where to start, but AI helps them to be more efficient. So even like big companies like Shopify, they utilize AI with junior engineers like in a very unorthodox way.
So junior developers are safe. It's a safe
Interns
position.
are safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so question for middle and senior developers. Right now, when you're hiring for these positions, what do you look for? Has it changed during the last year? And are there any specific skill sets that you would recommend software engineers on these positions to be focusing on to be more competitive in the years ahead?
It definitely changed, but I couldn't say it like dramatically. Still senior is still senior, because like who's senior? For me, number one like difference is your leadership skills. I mean technical leadership. It's not about like people management, but your ability to take responsibility to solve like complex tasks, and this stays the same. It doesn't matter like what technology or tools you are using. But what changed at MacPaw as we added like AI skills to like every engineer. So now we have this set of AI skills, and we like because we're looking for engineers who like know how to use because it's not that it's deeper than just like generate code, because software development is like huge life cycle. It's not just code generation. It's like about code review and I don't know, debugging, testing, so a lot of stages. And we are looking for engineers who know how to use AI at each stage and understand all the like pros and cons. Let's say this AI slope. There's a huge problem that someone generates a code, but someone needs to review it, and actually it's not like it. And we're looking for engineers who understand that problem, and they know that you are owner of that code, so you are not like ethically not okay to kind of just generate code and not to read it. So actually we added this that type of skills, but it's just for like general engineers, like typical software engineers, because we have like AI engineers. We decided to have like a different role, and that engineers are more like deeper in AI, so they should like know how to, I don't know, improve models, prepare data, like fine-tune models, not just to use some APIs. So like we picked this approach of two different directions, so roles.
Got it.
Yeah.
Dmytro, and how do you hire this year?
I could tell what I'm not looking at, because recently we had a very weird experience. We are jumping on a call with a person and asking them a question. Tell me about the biggest project that you delivered, blah, blah, blah. And the person is like, so you want me to tell you about the most complicated project that I delivered? And you see that their eyes is somewhere in the middle of the screen and they are typing something. And you're like, probably they are kind of typing that into ChatGPT, and then they like answer it perfectly, like ideal answer to any engineering question, but like with a 15 seconds delay. So like one thing that we are definitely not looking at people who try to use AI tools to pass engineering interviews. And that's the first step. That's like, it's strong no, because you want to be hired as a developer for your brain, not to the way how you use AI. Everybody can be taught to use AI properly. So we redesigned our engineering process that previously we were given homeworks, like, hey, come to us and deliver this project or solve these tasks on a coder byte, whatever. Now we don't do that because there is a big temptation for everyone just to copy-paste that to ChatGPT and here it is. So now we do much more focus on collaboration interviews. We're even thinking about unimaginable things, about inviting people to office to do this kind of flip chart interviews, again, like we did like 5 or 7 years ago, just to feel how it is to collaborate with a person. We are not yet there.
Like a chemistry test.
Like a chemistry test, to put people in a real environment, but we redesigned our interview process that now we have 2 engineers who interview the candidate and they are much more in a collaborative environment when they write code together. We don't look for AI skills. That's also controversial a little bit, but I don't care about if you already used AI at your current job, and it's one of the learnings that I had from hiring product-minded engineers. Sometimes some people, by chance, are working in companies where they are not exposed to AI. Like CTO can be greedy, so they don't give licenses for Copilot, Cursor, or whatever. Company just doesn't care about that. And there can be people who are working like 1 or 2 years in companies where they just don't have exposure to AI. And I personally, I don't discriminate these people. I think they can be amazing engineers, and if they are put into the right company with the right tooling, they'll be still amazing. So we didn't change our competency matrix. We are not looking for AI skills specifically in engineers, but I am looking at that at a managerial level. So when I'm interviewing engineer managers, that for me is a yellow flag because I expect from engineer managers much more proactivity to push for AI adoptions in their team. And like individual contributors, they're not responsible for pushing initiatives like that, but managers, in my opinion, they are responsible. So not for ICs, but for managers.
Excellent point. So I have a follow-up question. So you mentioned that you haven't changed your hiring practices yet. But what about the promotion criteria? Is AI part of the discussion when you're promoting a person? And if so, what is the practical discussion on that? Dmytro, do you want to start?
Yeah, I want to start about one thing that was super insightful for us. As engineering leaders, you want to measure an impact of AI. And that's like a holy grail, not possible to measure precisely, but you still should try to do that. One of the things that we discovered, there are engineering intelligence metrics platforms that do a very decent job on helping you to understand how people use AI in your organization. We started this year with a tool called DX. It's an amazing platform. We are big fans.
Use the same.
You use the same, yeah. I met the founder, Abinoda, like 10 years ago. He was a guy who developed like plugin to GitHub called Gitpanda. Then he built it DX. Now DX was acquired by Atlassian. So if you use Jira, probably like next year it will be like by default in your Atlassian suite. But the tool is amazing. So it shows you which engineers use AI, split it by teams, and showing you like approximate impact in terms of savings of time and cost, how much impact does it drive. So you can have like organizational view of how organization is benefiting from using AI and integrates really well from Copilot, Cursor, and so on. So it's really like insightful to have a bit of data metrics to understand how you're implementing AI in your organization. And when it comes to promotion of individual engineers, I would say I don't care which percentage of code they generated with AI, how much of a heavy user they are. Why? Because in each function is very different. Sometimes engineers can be typing a lot of code. Some of other engineers drive a lot of value by resolving very complicated problems with PMs, designers, and their peers. Or they review a lot of code, and you don't know if they reviewed it themselves or they used AI. So I don't care about AI, but I still expect to see bigger output from engineers this year compared to the previous one. So I would say my engineers who get promoted are like top 5 engineers who demonstrate that they have bigger impact now than they had a year ago, because we see that impact should be accelerating, that's for sure. You'll hear this magic number like 10, 15, 20% of delivery velocity should be there. If you're not getting there, it means that you're doing something wrong.
So you mean software engineers are allowed to use benefits of AI and results of AI as a reason for their personal promotion?
Yeah.
Why not? Like
in
our experience, we don't use it yet for promotion. It's not like a reason because it's our like active project of adding that AI skills. But we do use DX, and I check like personally from time to time who is the most like advanced user of AI, and I usually like talk with that person, and they usually like evangelist of that AI. So it's like number one engineers, but it's just it. So it's like for some reasons they like it. Maybe projects allow them, because we see the tendency that front-end engineers like tend to use more AI-assisted coding, because it's well-known fact that it generates better code in like JavaScript and TypeScript, because we have like a kind of challenge, not a problem in the company that like we create product for Macs, so it's Swift code, and LLMs, there is much less Swift code than JavaScript, so actually they're not that good in generating Swift code. So it depends on your specialization, and I agree with Dima, it doesn't make you like a better engineer. And that person, they usually just lead that education in a company, because we are in a stage of like educating people. We have this like and more like soft approach, because I know some companies, they like get really radical. I know one company that like CEO decided to fire all QAs and told CTO, okay, now you need to replace it with AI. And he's like, okay, what should I do? Like what? Some companies decide, okay, we want to be radical. We don't hire anymore. Like our approach is more like soft and more gradual, and we don't use it in promotion. But we expect from staff level engineers, because it's like engineers who influence the whole organization. They are more proactive in AI, so they're more like vocal about it. They show like an example, and let's say one of our staff engineers, they like active in because we are using like all available AI-assisted coding tools like Cursor and Claude, so he's like kind of. His initiative was to integrate it and teach how to use it. And one more staff engineer, and he did this AI for code review, and integrated the whole organization. So actually, it could be your staff level project for promotion. So if you integrated AI in our organization, and actually it showed some impact, because I agree, to measure impact is a huge problem, because it's not cheap, actually, to use AI. It's not cheap. We have this extra budget for each engineer, like for tokens, So it's not cheap, and we need to measure impact. So it could be for staff level, could be your promotion project. Yeah.
Do you have any insights of how potentially we could be measuring the impact that AI is doing? Is it only the CFO discussion? Or are we talking about like the quality or the innovation or those kind of metrics that would be coming from your camp, from the CTO camp?
Actually, it's question number one. It's like what we are getting, because the budget is kind of huge for these AI tools. And I follow the X approach. They actually like teach me how to do it. And they have these two categories. First is AI utilization. So number of engineers using AI, like how heavy is the usage and stuff like that. And another one is AI impact, and I like the approach because it's actually a pretty basic one. So it's just based on time. So okay, today you started using AI, and they see like changes on your like typical metrics. It's like change failure rate, velocity, and like your usual engineering metrics you usually measure, and they just by the time try to see what was the difference. And there's more like detailed one, let's say like size of pull requests. So it tend to be like higher with AI, but for some reason in MacPaw it's higher but not that much, and actually it's great. So it's how I see like AI impact, because what business expect is like the speed of delivery for sure, but still we don't see such speed up in delivery, because to have like real impact of this whole speed up, you need to use AI at each stage of life cycle. It's not just about code generation. It's not about just code review. It should be applied starting from like idea generation, specification, stuff like that. And we are like just moving in that direction, not at that stage yet, but in my opinion, we will see that huge impact when we'll reach that stage that we are using AI at each stage, like from, yeah.
Dmytro, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, we do absolutely the same. We use DX framework. So for those of you who are not familiar, if you just Google DX AI engineering efficiency framework, you'll see, and it's very simple one. In addition to that, we also try to do self-assessment surveys. And last year we did a big pilot with OpenAI, and this year they also rolled out Codex, and they do a lot of trainings to teach how to use Codex. There is one issue with self-assessment reviews, but first of all, self-assessment reviews are amazing. So basically you send a survey to people in your org and you ask, in your opinion, how many hours per week do you save with AI? Then you multiply it by price per hour, and then you get kind of monetary savings from AI, which is kind of a ballpark, but it's also a bit directional. So self-assessments are amazing. If you're not doing developer experience surveys, please do. It's one of the most important tools to have in the engineering org. The problem with self-assessment surveys is that people are much more optimistic on how much impact AI drives to them. And there was an amazing survey by Meter, M-E-T-R. They took 17 open source repositories, and they tried to measure an impact of AI, of open source contributors who contributed to these repositories. And they did self-assessment surveys with engineers, and engineers were like, I am 20% more productive with AI. Everybody was like, I am so productive now with AI, and they gave AI tools to one subset of developers, other subset didn't have it. In a real life, and it was super surprising result in the industry, those who used AI, they were 10% slower. 10%, like people think that they're 20% faster, but they're 10% slower. There can be multiple explanations to that, because this study was very focused in open source projects, and people who contribute there, they're already very deep domain experts. So they know that repository like up and down, they are very deep into that. But also it shows you a little bit of kind of human psychology, that you want it to work. You want to believe that AI works really well for you, but in real life, yeah, you can write more code, but the person who will be reading that will spend twice as much time on code reviews. So it's not as linear as that what you expect your productivity is on how it translates to the productivity of the whole organization. So the DX Intelligence AI measurement survey and also self-assessment, but take it with a cautious, because self-assessments are tricky.
So very interesting stats that you've shared.
I just saw that number, huge number of like kind of money, and I was like, it's not true. It's crazy amount of it. It's not true.
That's another CFO saw that and fired those QAs. So
yeah.
That's how it works. So on the topic of surveys, there was this study a few months ago. I think it was Cambridge or some kind of organization. So they evaluated how the critical thinking of people who were using AI, but they were writing surveys, essays. So people, 3 groups, usual. One group wrote essays without the help of AI, and the second one did. And the third one, it was kind of partial. So to make a long story short, what they found out, that after people were using AI to write essays, they were basically unable to write essays by themselves later on, because they would rely so much on that technology. And additionally, people who used AI writing their essays couldn't remember what they were writing about. So my question is, people who are using AI to write their code, and you started this panel by saying that you love coding, and this is like the problem-solving part of it and the critical thinking part of it. Are people getting dumber in writing code after they use AI or not? Do they remember what the code was about?
In my opinion, it's okay not to, we should be okay with that we don't understand each line of code, because usually it's we all know that engineer, even before AI, they write code less than they read code. So actually, there are a lot of code written by other people, and you have the same problem. You need to read it and to understand what other, different brain has come up with. So it's the same problem. Now it's just written by AI. So it's kind of the same skill. You need to read it and to understand it. And we need to be okay with that we don't understand everything, and because we have same AI to explain the code. So actually, it could be used to explain the code. And actually, it's there was recent research by what's the name? OpenRouter, I guess. No, not OpenRouter. Yeah, OpenRouter. Like it's a huge like state of AI research, and that was like #1 use case to use AI by engineers, and it's like explain me a code, not to write me a code, just explain me a code. So it's actually you can use it to explain you. So it's okay not to understand because especially for a huge system, it's impossible to like know all the code. It's that speaking about like dumber stuff. I like this like metaphor about pilots of airplanes. So at some point they humanity like come up with this autopilot, the same as we have now, like autopilot, and somehow pilots still know, like airplane know how to not to drive. What's the correct name? Fly it manually, yes, but they still mostly use autopilot. So it's actually the same metaphor. So we could use the same approach. So you need to train your brain. You need to be trained. So it's okay. It's really cool that you could use this autopilot mode. But we still need to have this like hard skills and to train your brain with like lead code, with some challenges, because it's like with like one more metaphor I use to when I think about this problem with your body. Yeah, so society come up with this huge like tools you can use and not to really use your body anymore, but we train your body just to be able to do be more physically fit, you know. So but you can live without
ourselves to do that.
Yeah, we can do force because we see like consequences. So I guess it's the same. You need to be. You just train yourself not to become dumber. Just train.
Dmytro, what's your point on that?
I want to believe that I'm not becoming dumber because I use AI. So like
that was just a survey. I was quoting.
Like, I'm projecting that on myself, and I'm thinking, am I getting dumber? Probably not. I'm getting dumber if I like watch TikTok, probably, but I'm definitely getting lazier. So I think that's a big difference. Like people just feel that they don't need to do some of the things. And I think the evolution here is very similar to what we had like 20, 30 years ago as IDE. We had like Vim, probably like utility in Linux to write code without any autocomplete, without different colorful buttons, syntax highlighting, whatever. And now we have IDEs. And now it's like we're just moving to the higher level of abstraction where you have just more tooling within your developer's environment. So you don't need to memorize things. And people as lazy creatures, they just don't want to do repetitive stuff or stuff that don't bring them a lot of joy. So I would say that developers are becoming lazier, but that's a good thing. Because if you're lazy, you'll optimize inefficiencies and you'll optimize boring stuff. So I'm not afraid of becoming lazy. I'm afraid of getting dumber, but probably it's not about an AI.
Okay, so let's go a little bit more practical into your organizations, because I'm sure everyone is very interested about last year, 2025. Because we talk AI, but what does it mean on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and hopefully Friday? What did it mean to your teams? How did they integrate it? Was it more of a top-down approach, or was it more of an innovation day-to-day kind of situation? What did you see, and what worked and what didn't? Vira, would you want to start?
Yeah, I could start. Like what I see in my experience that the best approach always is some hybrid one. So it's usually combination of top to bottom and bottom to top approach. So we have like that enthusiasts and like this power of all engineers like to try and use stuff using. And at the same time, we have this more structured way. So we have like our learning and development departments. They have this education for like engineers, product managers for like different specializations. So we have AI strategy. We have like director of AI and like quite a big team of AI engineers. So we have partnership with universities, Ukrainian and international. So actually, we have this like combined approach, and it works the best in my opinion, because if you make it like just go with the flow, it's it could happen, so you will win, but it needs to be more directed and more structured. So we have like a lot about it, and it could be divided into two parts. First is AI products. It's #1 for business. It's #1 like challenge, and maybe for the all organization around the world. And we actually like changed our strategy more into AI world and to see how we can use like AI technologies for our products to make customer benefit. And launch some new AI first products. It's not one direction, and it changed the company like dramatically.
Can you give us any specific examples that you're very proud of?
We actually launched in private beta. It's NA. It's our local first, Mac first AI assistant. It's like one more AI assistant, but it's like different because we see like more benefits, especially for Mac ecosystem in local models, because it's all about privacy, because Mac users, they love privacy, so your data never leave your laptop. And one more reason is that we want not just to reply you, like generate text or image, we want to do stuff. So because we as a company, we create software system utilities, so actually we do stuff, and it's pretty dangerous stuff. We can remove virus from your laptops. Actually, it's quite destructive operations. And we have access, like, because we work locally, we have access to all your data. So it's for your, and we take security really in serious way. That's why we go like local. And local models, like during this year, they're like pretty great like results, getting more like sophisticated, better and better, but still we invest a lot of like deeper research of these models and how to use it, because problem is with memory consumption, energy consumption, because they are really heavy, like heavier for your resources. So it's maybe the biggest like AI product we have, like
so
biggest
any
change.
failure cases that you
Actually
share?
in reality our expectation was like more optimistic than reality, because we expected what I was thinking. So we can generate all these small tools and just run it right away, but it's not the case. We can do like everything. We can generate UI, because we have this approach of generated UI, you know, so we don't need applications anymore. We can generate everything, and our NA will do it. But in reality, it's not that easy, and still each use case needs to be handled like differently. Let's say if you want to convert file, or I don't know, create some summary, or remove, I don't know, find a virus, it's like different use cases. And from that over expectation, first beta, second beta, and now we are at the stage of more reality, and we understand it's not that easy. We can add so many, we call it skills, like to do stuff, and it's not that easy. We can do everything, so it's kind of not like failure, but still it's like our expectation was so much higher than reality. Yeah, so we are still in a private beta mode, just launched recently. It's doing great, but still people just, because customers, they expect so much more from AI. They expect that they will do everything for you. And they write like
because
jobs.
that's what is promised.
Yeah, it was promised, and it's not the case. And they just, not kind of blame us. Why can't you do that? Why can't you do that? So yeah, it's actually, but we're still working on it, so we see the light. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
And what about Preply? What are the success and failure
I'll
cases?
start from failures, much more fun. What doesn't work? Vibe coding demos. If you are engineering leader, CEO of the company, whatever, and you come to engineering team saying, hey, look, I did whatever you did for the last half a year, and here is an amazing, lovable demo, or like vibe coded demo that I did in Replit, engineering team will hate you, because they understand the code quality there is so shitty. It is not production ready. Yeah, you have something doing some things, but it doesn't cover edge cases, so vibe coding demos don't work. Been there, done that. My team hated me because I was so optimistic, like, look, I can develop any feature in 5 minutes by using agents. It doesn't work. What doesn't work also is like expecting that AI usage will just magically appear on the tribal level. I did like a lot of presentations to my team. I came like every Friday, every Tuesday, we have knowledge sharing sessions. I come to my team, I show amazing slides, how to use AI. And people in reality, they multitask when they listen to the Zoom. They don't pay attention, they don't try it. And to actually use AI, you need to try it. You need to kind of put your hands dirty to actually see where it works and where it doesn't. So this top-down approach where the manager like preaches a lot, it doesn't work. It works a little bit better when engineers preach to each other. Like, oh, I know that guy, he's a good developer, and he's showing me some of the use cases that work for him. Much better, much better. But what works the best is when you embed AI as a part of your workflow, so you just cannot escape it. The most amazing things that we did with AI were when we embedded AI into our CI/CD process. Starting from AI for security code reviews, we use Snyk, for example, and it's small improvement, but basically you don't need to tag security team to review each and every pull request now, because you have pretty good security code review right now in your CI/CD. It's just like another green check mark that you don't need to pay attention, it's just there. Another thing is works really well is basically MCPs. And I'll provide a simple example. A few weeks ago, my team developed MCP for Jenkins server. And previously, when we had our CI/CD process to be failing, you needed to click on a link to go to Jenkins. Before going to Jenkins, it asks you to verify and log in with Okta. You need to put your two-factor key authorization. So it's like quite a process to click a lot of buttons, to go to the logs, to scroll down to the paragraph where there is an error, to understand what is happening in that paragraph, to open a documentation, what it actually means, and then try to fix it, for example. And what works much better is when you have a smarter CI/CD where you have Jenkins and CP server, and instead of you clicking like 10 times, you have, for example, suggestion immediately in your like CI/CD process. Here is where error can be based on what we analyzed from Jenkins logs, and here how we recommend to fix it based on your recommendation. It reduces like feedback loops and friction for developers. And it's a small thing. You cannot measure it precisely, but it works really well. And the same, for example, with the gatekeeping on unit tests. We have a gatekeeping when if you push code that is not covered by unit tests, you lower unit test code coverage, and you see that kind of red checkbox saying, no, you cannot merge that into master because like code coverage is going down. And developers are like, oh shit, I need to write unit tests. What is a much better workflow? You ask AI, hey, can you like create a boilerplate in the right folders with the right test names and create a pull request to this pull request to suggest a boilerplate for unit tests so the developer can just write business logic or parameterize these tests. Works much better because it's removed friction. And it removes necessity from the developers to actually think that, oh, I need to use AI for this or not. AI is just a part of their workflows. MCPs for Jenkins, MCPs for Figma with designs work really well. Code reviews, security code reviews work really well. What works really well is collaborative coding with AI for people who are not familiar with the language. So, for example, we have React Native as a language for mobile app development, but sometimes you need to put your hands dirty into native code. And for a developer who don't know Swift, for example, it's much easier to use AI Copilot just to make some changes because they're not as proficient in the language. And one of the most amazing things where AI shines is coding in declarative languages. For example, we previously relied a lot on our DevX and site reliability engineering team to write Terraform for infrastructure or to write YAMLs for infrastructure. And these kind of things are very well solved by AI. So now, if you have a good templates, good documentation, good code base, you can say, hey, I need this role to this resource, and I need it in Terraform in this version, and it produces pretty nice YAML and Terraform files. So all of the declarative, kind of, not programming, but like writing declarative descriptions of your infra and your resources works really well. I hated that. I needed I need access to this S3 bucket for this role with these permissions. I'm not Terraform expert, I hate it, but now I can do it very easily.
So those are really nice use cases, and my question is, piggybacking off your answer that you were evangelizing everyone on Fridays. So are those kind of processes, are those embedded into the Preply engineering community, or is it still like an ad hoc situation coming from early adopters of the AI? Are we still talking about the early adoption, or are we already talking about the industrialized
It's massive because with DX, it's molecular sales people of DX platform. So adoption, it's really high. We have like 80% of engineers, but it's like whole total number of engineers. So it's QA and like different type, not just code writers. So it's a huge, like everyone just use it. And we have like different problems with this budgeting. So engineers like, give us more budget, I want to use it more. So it's like different problems. So actually now we are at the stage of massive adoption. It's not like some people using it. So in our organization, yeah, it's everyone wants it, just give us more tools, more tokens, we can use it, yeah.
Dmytro, and same at Preply?
Yeah, I think we are not like at the early stage, we are at a later stage, like main market adoption. I would say that we still have all of these rituals to evangelize things, but they should be very practical and they should be embedded into things. There are so many things how you can embed practices into code, like creating agents MD file, creating like code guidance. There are a lot of toolings that you have in your repository to make sure that AI is a part of a workflow. That I believe that we are like on the main wave now. Everybody should be using that 80%, 90%, whatever. It shouldn't be top down. It should be already like embedded a little bit in the orgs. But each of the orgs is different, and the operationalizing of AI adoption could be different everywhere.
Yeah, I could add one more cool use case. I guess you're like doing the same. It's agents MD file. So you're helping AI assistant to understand your project. You get context. We are like also at that stage because it's a completely different like engineering. So you need not just explain your teammates, just make project approachable for AI assistants. Actually, yeah. So it's massive. Yeah.
So my last question for both of you, as you're the CTOs and we're entering 2026, I'm not sure if you already have your strategy finalized or you're flying somewhere fancy in January. So my question is, what is, if you can share, kind of the vision of the AI strategy for 2026? Are you more in an exploration kind of mode, what works, how we can use it, or are you already set on what it is practically for your organization for next year? Vira wants to.
Yeah, we are definitely set because it's like end of the year. It's days of strategies and budgeting. Yeah, and like almost all the strategies, we have organizational AI first strategy, and it covers like the whole functions and our products. And in the next year, we want to like make more money from it, from our AI products, and we have this kind of AI-related budgets, like they're growing. So actually, we more like productizing AI, not just speaking about AI, because it's not just for us. In my opinion, it's for like everyone at that stage. You can make money out of it. You can use it like for real work, and actually, we do use it for real work. So it's at that stage. So it's everywhere. We have now a strategy, so we need to create like 15 agents, and they can even be shown in your organization chart. So it just like, that idea that agents kind of, not to replace your job, but like to, so at that level of, so we have like agents, a number of, like in our strategy, number of AI workflow automations in like, frequent and popular business processes. So it's like everywhere. It should transform you, or you will. I can say die, but still.
You can say die.
Yeah, okay. Or you will die. Yeah.
So Dmytro, what about Preply? What about the strategy for the AI?
I love strategy. I'll have a talk about strategy at 1:30 today on this stage. So please come. It will be amazing. Speaking about AI strategy, we follow the framework of bad strategy, good strategy. We have a diagnosis, what is the biggest problem in AI, what is a guiding policy, what are the coherent actions. Probably one thing to sneak peek how to make the strategy, AI strategy work is that you should have somebody responsible for executing AI strategy. Because you can write a lot of nice and fancy slides saying, oh, we have this strategy, we'll do this and that and so. And the biggest problem for us was who should actually like do things. And in the end, we finalized that actually we have a developers experience team. We are like at this stage when we can allow it to like 180 engineers. You should have developers experience team if you are at that size. And developers experience team have like a set of actions, roadmap, how they will implement the actual AI strategy. And also we have a staff function, and they will have few special projects, as we call them, that they'll need to implement. So for me, strategy itself, it will be different in if different org, depending on which level of maturity you are. But the most important thing to keep in mind, who will actually do things. And you as engineer leader, CTO, director, engineer managers, you will not do things with your own hands. You need some team to be kind of has that as a goal and be measured and get promoted if they achieve that goal really well and exceed your expectations.
Thank you. Well, thank you
Right
all
on
for
time.
joining us, and thank you for answering my question. It was a pleasure.